The future of real estate isn't really about who has the most leads. It's about who's creating the most engaging experiences to drive meaningful conversations.
Guys, thanks for jumping on and joining me today. Today we're going through some of our new innovation a little bit, and so we thought we'd bring the group of us together and describe to folks what we have been working on behind the scenes a bit together, right? So, Chris, we came together. How long's it been now? How many?
So
How
it's been
many?
about 3 months now officially. Yeah.
Yeah, some days it feels like a month, and some days you're like, it's been decades, you know? Uh, but we brought the List Assist team into the Inside Real Estate family, and CMAC and George and Julia and their teams have been kind of working on some of this beautiful stuff behind the scenes. We wanted to get in and kind of talk about that. And as we're going in, there's really this overarching kind of thought around really truly intelligent technology. Everyone uses the terms AI and intelligence and those things, but really getting to the kind of nuts and bolts of what intelligent technology is and what it can do for you. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit and getting to the heart of search alerts. Search alerts in real estate are like this thing that has been there for many, many years. It's almost like the core of engagement often because it's working with properties. And so we're kind of bringing these things together. It's pretty exciting. We'll get down to some of it. But Chris, let me throw it over to you. I mean, a little bit of background. We've talked before and shared some of this stuff out, but a little bit of background and how you were kind of coming at some of these things that we're working on now.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think for us, yeah, for a little more Listicist background, so we launched about 3 years ago in New Zealand. We've always been laser focused on that American market and very quickly kind of developed our vision of being the most trusted AI business in the industry. What we sort of very quickly saw is how fast people are to throw AI on the end of a product or on the end of a release to try and get attention and to try and kind of tick that box. So we really obsessed over building proof points over promises. And we're fortunate that we got a number of really great reputable partners early on that were actually integral in helping us develop our products and kind of find our product market fit. So, for us, like now being a part of the Inside Real Estate family has just been, the most incredible fit. And I think the last couple of months, a lot of, people I've spoken to in the industry have talked about, what a good fit and good idea this is, you guys acquiring us. But hopefully, pretty soon, once we launch some of these offerings, that's going to go from good to great pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, exactly. From good idea to wow, look
Exactly.
what this is. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Well, love that. And Julia, we kind of came in with some pretty clear views as to what this could become. They've gotten even clearer now, but we kind of came in with some good ideas as to what we could go do together.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are just so excited here at Inside Real Estate to have the List Assist team join our family and really be able to join forces, Chris, with you and the team. And what really excites me is that we're not just adding like a keyword-based search that's like dressed up as natural language search, for example. We've really together fundamentally reimagined how consumers discover homes. And so, for example, with List Assist, generative AI technology now integrated into our Bold Trail platform, your clients can search for a modern kitchen with white granite countertops, for example, or a search for a double panel doors in mahogany, and actually find them. And so this really isn't just like keyword matching dressed up as AI. It's really gets to the root of semantic understanding at that deeper level, where AI is trying to help understand the context and the intent. And it's not that a buyer really wants 3 bedrooms. What they want is a bedroom and a place to have a home office and a place to have a guest room, for example. And so it's really, able to kind of decipher that in our enhanced type of search experience, describe the things they actually need, and our AI delivers these types of matches that they never have found with standard filters.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it goes to Chris. You I think said a second ago, but there's a phrase that you've used a couple of times that I've heard you talk about. It has something to do with proof versus when you're dealing with
Yeah,
AI. Like what is
proof
that
over
phrase?
promise. Yeah, so proof over promises. So it is obviously just such an incredibly noisy space. And it's been interesting sort of trying to navigate it and kind of get away from the shiny object syndrome and actually focus on kind of real life proof points, right? And you touched on kind of how you'd been thinking about it internally, sort of before, during, and post acquisition. And I think, that should fill Bold Trail users with a tremendous amount of confidence, right? Is that you have been thinking about the big picture here for the top teams, agents, and brokers, how it actually impacts their business, not just so that you can scream from the rooftops, hey, Joe's in the AI game. How clever is this? And again, I think that should fill, the customer base with a tremendous amount of confidence that this is incredibly well thought out. There's real world proof points with some of the biggest brands in real estate, using our search over the last 6 to 12 months. And there's some incredible parts of our clients' businesses that are about to change very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. The other thing that I like about this concept of proof over promise and really the intent of AI and intelligent technology is that these days you see how fast AI is moving, right? And all the kind of AI driven technologies out there. You can spin stuff up these days. George, you and Julia and some of us the other day were like, we were playing with some tools. We're like, holy crap, look how fast you can spin stuff up. And yet unlocking the proof and the power, the results from that tech isn't quite as fast as jumping online, using an AI tool and just spinning something up, right? And so, one of the things that was most exciting to us as we set out here is we're bringing some of the most powerful AI technology with the industry's broadest, deepest, most robust ecosystem of technology and data. We have more data signals from search to behaviors to conversion funnels to how do you drive engagement with search alerts. We have more of that than basically anybody out there. And bringing this kind of AI tech together with it, that's what got us so pumped. Honestly, we were like, all right, we can kind of bring some of this stuff together. So, uh, George, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about like, okay, so how are we doing it? Like, what's this thing going to be?
First and foremost, as Julia mentioned, buyers use everyday language to search for homes, and that's typically how they speak to their agents and what they're looking for. And so what we've done is we've taken that concept and taken some of these concepts around how List Assist built this and utilizing, a new interface, in the consumer experience where you really are searching like you speak. We even given you a little microphone here where you can kind of talk to the interface, and it could be voice to speech, and there's no filtering, no drop downs, no like selecting your price range. Now you can do that, but really we've given you some prompts, just like a lot of the generative AI solutions that are out there. You can see it's very similar to that, and you can go in there and give it a phrase. We're testing this out with our proof of concept, and it works amazing. So you can ask it like, hey, show me single family homes in this particular area, this particular price, that have modern kitchens, white granite countertops, at least a single car garage near a coffee shop. I mean, you can go to town on this. And what it's going to do is going to be looking at the MLS data first and foremost, like we normally do. But it's also going to be layering in the computer vision, looking at each individual image, of the listing, and then also looking at the listing descriptions to really give you that accurate view. And once you go ahead and make that search, you'll see a brand new interface that's really taking that entire sentence and parsing it into what we call criteria-based search filters. So Obviously the type, the price range, home. And so we're translating that and then also taking those keywords and utilizing those keywords and looking at the actual imagery, looking at the listing description and trying to find some of these homes that you most likely may never have found. What's kind of crazy is, in the Charleston market, we were looking at homes, and I was like, I don't want any brick homes. They're just kind of odd. They look a little bit old. So I was able to say no brick. I mean, there's no MLS field in there that says no brick homes. I wanted that. Then I started getting a little bit crazier, started looking for mahogany doors, double doors, palm trees, stuff like that. Just, the image recognition is picking up and pulling it, and it works beautifully. And then we also have the ability to give it a thumbs down, which gives our data team and all the real smart guys that are doing all the AI pieces, like some information back to them where they basically say, hey, that didn't actually belong there. Why? And allows them to tune it. So we've been tuning this AI now for about 2 months. We just got the school data in there. We're getting all of the elements in place and the UI in place. So you can kind of see, just a real beautiful kind of new experience that lends itself to other things down the road. Like, for example, we're also working through a mobile app where it could listen to the conversations that you're having with your customers and really parse out that same exact language and create that search experience for you because those search alerts are so incredibly important.
Dude,
And
that
so
is George.
the
That just, I mean, let me pause you for a second because that you just hit a bunch of things there. And what is so cool about this is, again, it's taking. I mean, today, as it is, we send millions and millions of search alert emails per month, right? We've got over 150 million consumers in the databases overall. We deal with lots of volume and lots of traffic and lots of engagement indicators as it is. And so as you've applied it and you're able to get to this depth of results, this really is the most powerful kind of AI paired search because it's not just AI, it's AI plus all the structured data, is kind of what you're saying, right?
That's
It's like
right.
the best of both, where you
It's the
can kind
best
of
of
like bring
both.
those together.
And it's smart. I mean, I've tried to trip this up several times. Again, we've had this like 2 month period of really kind of tuning it. And it's fast. It's just it just feels very natural. And so we thought, hey, that's pretty awesome from a consumer experience, but why not give that to the agent as well when you're creating those search alerts? And as you mentioned, Joe, we send about 160 million search alerts a month, and 20%. I mean, that brings back the most repeat traffic.
160 million a month.
Yes.
It's wild. And so
Yeah,
there's all this learning and data that you have that you get to kind of combine and test against, right? It's not
that's right.
like a theoretical, hey, I wonder if this could work on a search somewhere. Yeah, someone launches it on a portal and they're like, man, this kind of stinks. This is like the real deal, in depth, right? I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, we have all the open rates, click-through rates. We have several different templates that we learned from that we're now A/B testing. And so we wanted to make the actual creation of the search alert as simple as possible. And so we've done that two ways. One, as agents will always want to custom tailor that search alert. So very much so like you're doing that like a consumer would search, like we had mentioned. We even introduced that exact same microphone in there where you can go in and type in the actual search. It does the same thing, but not only that, what's great about this being in Bold Trail is now we're instantly showing you the results, so you don't have to go save and then go view them. Before you save, you can really kind of tune this. You've got a ton of new filters that you can kind of go in there. You can save that. It'll ask you, the default subject line, all the things that we know really, work well together. You save that, and that's one way. But the second way, and we know a lot of agents don't necessarily always take the time to set this up because they don't know the search criteria because they don't necessarily get a phone call right away when they're very much in that stranger when they don't really know much about that person, but they've somehow come to their website and they've looked at some properties, whether it's Property Boost or some sort of lead generation that we brought them in. And so we are looking at, taking that search, and taking your entire database and reactivating some of these leads that do not necessarily have search alerts, because it is your number one driver back to your branded website. And so what we're doing is we're looking at your entire database, and let's just say you've got, about 20% of your database is on search alerts. We're going to look at every single contact in your database that's eligible for a search alert, and we're going to start to apply some A/B sort of testing and send them a wide swath of search alerts and even questions, and listen to some of the signals when they come back, and then hone that search alert based on the different behavior activities that they have. And so this just means that your entire database will be back on search alerts, so you really get those emails clickable and get them back to your website.
Oh man, that is so freaking awesome. And it's kind of like therein lies, Julia, we've talked a lot about like the results, like what, okay, so what does all this mean in terms of like actual conversations? And we're pretty bullish on it, Julia, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think honestly, the future of real estate isn't really about like who has the most leads. It's about who's creating the most engaging experiences and using those experiences to drive meaningful conversations, right? So with this AI, now powering our platform, both your websites and our search alerts, it really becomes the center of engagement that your clients actually do want to return to, and search alerts and the reactivation there to help drive high quality conversations and really a new level of service to your entire SOI. This is really how you build a business that scales.
We're gonna 5 to 10x those conversations, and I'm gonna put that little tattoo in the small of my back, So if you're hanging out with me and I bend over, you might see a little 5x back there.
Better you than me, Joe.
but but we're really serious about it. We're hell bent on driving those results. And what's exciting is to see kind of the early view of that already. But there's still lots of learning to apply. That's part of what we get to do, I think, George, in this whole thing, right? Is like
Yeah.
learn, iterate super fast.
Yeah, and much of what we're doing is we know that those content those leads in your database come back to the sites, and what we're listening for those signals, and those bigger signals where they looked at 5 properties within an hour, they looked at 15 properties in a certain period of time, they saved X amount. Those are the type of things that that part of the flywheel that we want to alert the agent. And that is why, we're saying we will believe that this is going to create more conversations, because there's going to be a lot more automation and basically a lot more repeat traffic, a lot more engaging experiences that ultimately provide the agents signals of who is actually bubbling up in their database and performing those high quality engagements. And at that point, we're going to make it very easy for you to pick up the phone and call. And while we call, we can summarize, we can do all sorts of great things, but that is the reason why we believe in the 5x and the 10x conversations, and because this is a much more engaging experience. There's smarter automation, and it's a highly likelihood to convert based on some of the new kind of user experience that we've presented here. There's one other thing that gets me really excited, and that's just the actionable insights here. So we will be sending, a monthly email to your admin and your agents based on what we've done within the database and how many new people that we brought back to life, how many more, based on some of our re-engagement efforts. We'll be able to tell you who's engaging, how much more engagement your database is getting on a monthly basis, and really kind of sharing with you some of the A/B testing that we're doing, and how we're growing that engagement. And so that's really exciting as well. And so those actionable insights, can really guide agents to close more deals, and really help them focus on where to put their energy.
I love that. I was going to ask about that actually. And Chris, you've seen people using those insights from leveraging AI already. How are they using some of the insights that come from this kind of deeper, intelligent search experience? Like, what are you seeing? What have you seen out there so far?
Absolutely. So there's a range of different use cases that we've seen actually. One of the first ones was just the team leader having these reports and insights being handed out to all of their agents, and they had to take it to all of their listing appointments. Their view was it was a great way to stand out in their market. It showed that they really knew something that the rest of the market didn't,
Mm,
and really helped make that fit as to why they should be the agent and team that lists your property. Obviously, it really helps optimize things like listing descriptions, SEO, and kind of broader digital marketing initiatives where, you truly understand what people are asking for, what you should be highlighting in your listing that you're bringing to market. There's a much broader content piece as well. Like, I think people are very just interested in kind of what's selling, what people want in their market, how that pertains to what they have in their home that's not currently on the market. They may not be talking to an agent particularly closely, but just knowing, well, actually, I do have this pool, I have this, big backyard, which seems to be, really big in the area. And these are the things that people really are asking for. Maybe it is worth, having a conversation or coming back to this agent. And, when you look at this experience that George has just outlined too, like, a lot of the sort of prospects and customers we have, they have a desire to stand out in their market. And we think this is just such an incredible way to do that. And I think the way I think about it, if you come and have an experience like George has just given us now as a user and get those personalized follow-ups and alerts, are you really going to want to go to a competitor the next day and start by entering a zip code? I think the answer to that is very unlikely. You can be brave enough to try it if you want, but I think this is very quickly going to become an expectation. And if you think of this purely from a consumer perspective, if you think of this purely from a consumer perspective, should I say, you come and have an experience like this, why would you then go and start with, a competitor the next day, start by entering a zip code and having them draw a map around an area and hope that you can find something that's sort of in your wheelhouse?
yeah, I love that. The other thing that I love here is that this isn't just I don't get to just present this experience to one kind of lead that I have in my database. This is like every lead in my database, every kind of contact. So my database as a whole, I can drive my organic leads into this, but this works with my portal leads as well, right? I might be working with realtor.com or Zillow or homes.com leads. All of that can come and really get empowered. I can be driving more out of all of my database and lead and kind of business generation activities. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can pull those contacts in that from these other third party sources. We can look at all the pieces that they all the different properties that they looked at and attributes and sort of start running those again and bringing them back and helping them with a better search experience.
Yeah. The other thing I love is the referral opportunity here. When one of the things with my clients, if I'm working with my clients, referrals, testimonials, there's nothing better than having the best search experience out there to drive more kind of referrals and testimonial activity and those sorts of things to really like turn my existing database and set of clients into a larger one.
Yeah, could I just add to that, Joe? I think as well, there's a very cool sort of human component to this, right? Like just knowing this about your prospects, knowing what they want, being able to actually, kind of speak their language and get on the same page as them straight away with the understanding of what they want, which this really does create. And I think just adds to what you mentioned about referral opportunities, testimonial opportunities, and just positioning you as the expert when it comes to real estate in your area.
I totally agree, Chris. And I think even just the opportunity to get the repeat business and to grow your network, right? I was looking at a stat the other day. I think it's only 90% of consumers, they say they'd work with their agent again, right? But only about 15% actually do. And so having these enhanced consumer experiences really keeps you top of mind throughout the entire home ownership journey and not just during those transactions, right? I think there's also another stat that like 7% of your database at any given time is going to transact a house in the next 12 months. So those opportunities are there in your database, but how can you actually get to them and get those conversations and experiences that drive your business?
Well, this is pretty sweet. I know I speak for myself. I'm very excited. I think a lot of other folks are pretty excited out there. So here's the big money question, Julia, George, when does it ship? Ship it. When does it ship?
Coming soon. We've got the team, the team back there doing all the R&D and the innovation labs, and so we're looking to start our beta in early July, and then it'll be turned on in some kind of early customer opportunities through August as well. So it's coming.
Yeah,
Very cool.
we've had quite the aggressive timeline. I can honestly say, we can all honestly say, we have engineering teams around the world working on this around the clock. And that is where the aggressive timeline came from, where Julia is saying that we expect to have something in our customers' hands to start testing and beta testing in early July. It's pretty exciting.
Super cool. Well, guys, thanks. I feel like I'm on the horn here with some of the smartest people in the space, and so you guys are fantastic. We'll let you get back to shipping this thing, but thanks again. This is
Sounds
awesome.
good. Can't wait to get it out there. Thanks, everyone.